Explain what it's all about. Why you're protesting?
Sure, absolutely. So this protest is about the global Gag Rule, which is a law that stops American aid organizations or any organization that receives funding from the American government from talking about abortion. And in the U.S., we enjoy the right of abortion, which is something that all women overseas should be able to have, regardless of what what conservatives in the American government think.
I understand that it also has impacts on other health issues abroad.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
It also has impacts on other health issues abroad?
Absolutely. Well, so abortion access impacts a lot of health issues, right? It's related to contraception, it's related to women's empowerment and their ability to control what health access they receive. I mean, if you're not able to get abortion, you're often at the mercy of others in your life, potentially an abusive partner or, others in your life who can control your fertility or governments as well. And in the U.S., we believe that government is not something that should be involved in personal rights decisions, and that should be true overseas as well, especially given that these are not people who voted for the American government.
I also read that it would impact things like infectious diseases, getting inoculations from things like Zika.
I don't know about that. You'd have to ask somebody who specializes in those areas.
Tell me your name and how you came to be here. Tell me your name and how you came to be here.
Yep, so my name's Nicole Leeds, and I was a member of the Global Health Corps, which is an organization that promotes health access and health equity around the world.
Okay, thanks. Any website or Twitter you want to shout out?
You should definitely look up the Global Health Corps, and if you're interested in getting involved in global health, take a look at our fellowship program.
Thank you. Okay, it looks like there's going to be something of a pre-rally here. I'm going to work my way around. So there's a pre-rally here at Freedom Plaza. We're in Washington, D.C., protesting against the international gag rule. Prevents foreign aid from being spent in programs abroad that either talk about or provide abortion. It's International Women's Day, and this is one of many protests around the country.
Disproportionately, communities of color in the global south that rely on U.S. foreign assistance for their health care. That's pretty fucked up, right? Pretty fucked up. All right, so I'm going to tell you about what we're going to do. We're going to march off soon. We're going to march behind this banner. We're going to step off at, I don't have my phone with me right now, but we're going to step off at about 11:30. And we're going to march. And I also have a request for Sarah Sippel to come up front. So we're gonna march north on 15th Street. We're gonna take a left on Pennsylvania Avenue, where we're gonna be at the White House. We're gonna shout as loud as we can at President Trump that we will resist the global gag rule. We will resist the tax on reproductive justice in our own communities as well. Does that sound good? Yeah!
It's International Women's Day. This is a protest that's focused on the gag rule. I think it's related to something called the Helms Amendment, named after Jesse Helms, that prevents foreign aid coming from the United States to countries abroad from going to organizations that either provide abortion or talk about abortion as part of family planning. Ma'am, do you want to let us know why you came out? No? Okay. Just going to work my way around this way. This is their banner. Resist Trump, stop the gag. Hashtag Trump global gag. Hashtag no abortion ban. Oh, you're the organizer, right? Hey.
You should talk to Alice, actually. Yeah, but I just want to make sure this is set up. Do we have enough volunteers?
Hey, it's the TY team. Cool. Hey, Praveen. Well, I'm getting people saying no to talking to me about half the time. So if you could find someone who's definitely willing to, bring them up to me. Okay, thanks.
Everybody ready to march by the White House?
Getting ready to march to the White House from Freedom Plaza, Washington, D.C. All right.
Hi, my name is Katie, and what do you want me to say about my sign?
Why exactly are you here today?
I'm here because my rights are equal to your rights, are equal to anyone else's rights, and my goal is that we keep fighting for that because the global gag rule is keeping healthcare away from women who need it all around the world, and we need to make sure that we as a wealthy nation, pay our dues for all our interactions with the world, including healthcare.
Is this something that was important to you, that you were concerned about, the way that our healthcare dollars are spent overseas? Were you aware of that before the Trump administration took over?
To be honest, I wasn't aware of how much influence we had over international healthcare, so I'm happy for the occasion to learn more, but I am sad for the reason.
What is your response to people that are against today and the Women's March in general and the Women's Strike in general that are saying it's just against abortion rights to humans? What is your response to that?
It's oversimplification, and it's giving in to easy answers that are not answers at all. Really, with any issue that makes us uncomfortable, we have to think about why, we have to learn more, we have to see the history behind it, and learn about the people who have fought for us to have certain rights and why. Because it's easy for us to take for granted that we have education like public school, or that we have healthcare that includes the right to choose. But that healthcare also includes our right to protect our bodies from illnesses and things of that nature. Like, the rights we have shouldn't be taken for granted, and they're tied to a history wherein we've had international influence that's both negative and positive that we need to be responsible for.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
When abortion rights are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back! When abortion rights are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back! When abortion rights are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back! When trans lives are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back! When trans lives are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back! When trans lives are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back! When abortion rights are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back! When abortion rights are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back! When immigrant rights are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back! When immigrant rights are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back! When immigrant rights are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back! When trans lives are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back! When trans lives are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back! Resist Trump! Stop the gag! 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 Stop the gag!
Baby's the future.
The future.
We have to go protest today.
Stop the gag! Stop the gag! Stop the gag! What do we want?
Gotta start them off young.
Yeah.
You gotta stay with me because of this.
When do we want it?
Did you want to say something? What brought you here today?
Sorry, it's kind of hard to hear. What was that?
I said, what brought you here today?
Well, I am personally pro-life, but the expansion of the Mexico City policy, also known as the global gag rule, is so much greater than previous iterations. It's really affecting not just women, but men, children. We are seeing the risk of diseases that have been brought under control, like TB and malaria, not being able to be controlled because people are not getting vaccinations. We're seeing things like HIV/AIDS threatened, and to me, as a pro-life person, that is intolerable.
That's a great point, because a lot of people for whom abortion is a major issue, it might be one of the issues for you on which you vote upon. They primarily say, well, women who are promiscuous are really the only ones who would be affected if we take this right away. But when you're talking about infectious diseases, there's really nobody who's immune. No pun intended. It could affect men. It could affect women who are abstinent. It could affect older people. It could affect our children.
Yes, and I think that there's a misnomer that this would be affecting people only outside of our borders because it's foreign aid. The reality is, with our increasingly globalized world and the way that we see disease spread and epidemics spread, we are putting ourselves at risk if we are not helping other countries keep diseases under control. So we really need to be thinking about that as well.
I'm glad that you were able to trace it back to Mexico City. Could you explain the root of this policy and how it's switched back and forth depending on who the president is?
I can try to a little bit. I won't claim to be an authority, but yeah, the Mexico City language came from a conference held in Mexico City where the decision was made to not only stop U.S. funding to go to abortion. U.S. funds haven't gone to abortion since 1973, so it's been decades. But what the Mexico City policy does is it says if you are a healthcare provider and any part of your funds go to abortion, then we will not fund you. So U.S. funds will go to things like, neonatal care, to children's health, to women's regular gynecological health, and all of those would be penalized because a small part of that healthcare provider's services may go to abortion services, referrals, or information, even if the U.S. funds do not go to it. Traditionally, under Republican presidents, we've seen a reinstatement of the Mexico policy rule. Under Democratic presidents, we've seen a repeal. The thing that makes this different is that before, it only used to be for funds for family planning, which were hundreds of millions, but Trump has expanded to include all funds going to health services, which is about $9.5 billion. So that is a massive expansion and really dangerous.
Wow, thank you. That was so edifying. Can I throw one more question at you? Okay, cool. So you're a pro-life. Are you Asian American?
I am Asian American, yes, and pro-life, yes.
Okay, I'm half Asian. And I've been covering the Trump campaign since the beginning, and there were really two main issues that were motivating his base. One was abortion, and the other was that they were basically in fear of the multicultural America that we are becoming, the America that includes people like you and me. What would be your argument to people for whom those are the main reasons why they support the Trump administration? We got to do it quick.
Yeah, I think we can look at our own U.S. history to see how wrong it is to judge a group of people based on what may be happening in the world around them. I grew up in Seattle. I grew up learning about the Japanese-American internment, and we now see in history that there was a severe failure of political leadership to stop that internment from happening, and that there was no risk of the people that were interned. So to those people, I would say meet someone who looks different than you, talk to them, learn about what motivates them. The majority of people I know are motivated by a desire to work hard and an opportunity to have an equal chance. And that was me, my parents were immigrants. I worked hard. I got a full ride scholarship to college. And because I didn't have school debt, I went into public service because I didn't have to have a high paying job to pay back those school loans. So a lot of immigrants have the same story, and I would just encourage people who are afraid to reach out and meet those people.
Just like your baby did.
Yes, she wants to reach out to everyone. She loves people.
Tell me your name.
Helen.
Okay, thanks for your time, Helen. Okay, follow me. We're going to try to get to the front of this march. Okay. Excuse me. Eric Byler reporting for the Young Turks and TYT Politics. We are at Freedom Plaza, Washington, D.C., where organizers who oppose the Mexico City Gag Rule, which was so expertly explained by Helen moments ago, have organized this march on the White House. We're a few blocks from the White House, and we're going to be marching there momentarily. I'm in the middle of the street. Hopefully they got permits.
Are you connected to this backpack?
No, the backpack.
Switch backpacks then, so she doesn't have to
Okay, sure. Let's do it. I'm going to hold a high angle while you guys arrange that. Okay. Just kind kind of get decent sound, like point toward you. Okay, go ahead and put this on my back. And then there's a little window that will allow you to make sure it's still.
I'm sure the test is in English, so they don't show it.
Woo! Let's go! Yeah!
Cave and show the sport.
You and your tea. Woo! Love you guys. Don't leave.
Okay, I'm going to run ahead. So we're simulcasting on Facebook.com/TYTPolitics and YouTube.com/TYTPolitics. We're still somewhat mystified about how our audience finds our live streams on YouTube. But if you do go to YouTube, it's a slightly better angle. I've got the phone on top of the camera right now. Destination is the White House.
Freedom!
Stay with us. We'll be getting to as close as we can get to the White House, Lafayette Park, which is just north of it.
Shut it down! Shut it down! Stand up, fight back! Stand up, fight back! Stand up, fight back! Stand up, fight back! What do we do? Stand up, fight back! What do we do? Stand up, fight back! When women's lives are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back! When women's lives are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back! When women's lives are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back! 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 Let's do what we do! Stand up, fight back!
Reinforcements arriving.
Shut it down! Shut it down! Shut it down! Shut it down! When women's lives are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back! When women's lives are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back! When women's lives are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back! 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 What do we do? What do we do? If we don't get it, shut it down. 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 What do we want? Freedom. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Freedom. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Freedom. When do we want it? Now. I'll be behind you. When do we want it? Now. If we don't get it, shut it down. 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 What does democracy look like? This is what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like. Tell me what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like.
Tell me your name.
My name's Natalie DeLeon, Nataliedeleon.
Okay, what brought you out here today?
Well, I came out here because I've experienced workplace discrimination in the U.S. Army and in my regular civilian jobs for years. Thank you very much. And I've also dealt with a lot of sexism just walking around. The fact that women can't just merely exist in a public space without dealing with harassment and sexism and feeling uncomfortable is absolutely outrageous. And the fact that this country has elected a man who has publicly announced that he harasses and sexually abuses women is absolutely outrageous. These women have inspired me to work harder, to be better, and the fact that our country and our society doesn't value women and our culture and what we do and our contribution is outrageous, and that's why I'm out here. I'm out here to support my mother, myself, and all the women in my life that inspire me to work hard every single day.
So it's not the specific issue of foreign dollars that go to support healthcare abroad. You object to the culture that brought Donald Trump to office.
Absolutely. The culture is what's allowing for this gag order, for his executive order that got rid of funding for abortions worldwide. It's a culture. It's a society. We can no longer just put Band-Aids on these issues. This is a deep cultural issue and a deep societal issue that we're dealing with. There's recently data that just showed that 1 in 3 men said they would rape a woman if they could get away with it.
Well, and as a matter of fact, what you mentioned about Donald Trump publicly announcing that he had sexually harassed women, he didn't mean for that to be public. That was supposed to be...
There's a microphone on his lapel, and he got caught saying something that he would say anyways. It's not something that he would not say. Sorry, we're not in the right area, but that's something that he would have said anyways, even if he had the microphone or not. Like, me personally, if you're a celebrity and you're constantly on TV and you have lapel mics on you all the time, someone has experienced them, you know when there's a lapel mic. I don't think he's cautious at all for what he says against women. There's no caution. He doesn't care. Like, his first wife has come out with allegations. It is allegations, but we see the way that he treats women. I mean, his actions speak louder than his words do.
What do you say to the 46% of America that, especially the women in that 46% who voted with Donald Trump, essentially saying that either that didn't happen or they don't care that that happened. They want someone strong to protect them against the America we're becoming.
Absolutely. So I'm gonna just speak philosophically really quickly. So stories are told based on your culture and based on where you're raised, and they're told to you over and over again, where you believe that you may not be facing this type of discrimination, especially if you're a white woman. You may not feel like you're experiencing sexism because you've been sold this story over and over and over again. And my mother is one of those. She voted for Trump. She doesn't understand the discrimination that a lot of women face every single day, including herself. And that's why we're out here. We're here to wake up those women to be like, you don't deserve any kind of oppression, abuse, harassment of any kind, even if you're not even aware of it happening in your own life.
Have a Twitter handle?
Yes, I do. It's at Nate Dizzle, NATEDIZZLE 020.
All right, cool. Say it one more time, and maybe you'll hear from some of the people who saw this.
Yeah, so it's NATEDIZZLE 020. I'm also trying to get nominated through the Justice Democrats with Cenk, so I would love for anyone to nominate me. That'd be awesome.
Well, today was a good start. Good job. Thank you. Okay, Eric Byler reporting for the Young Turks and TYT Politics. We're simulcasting to Facebook.com/TYT Politics and YouTube.com/TYT Politics. Here's the White House. So if you're watching on YouTube, I'm going to zoom in. You can see those are the columns of the White House. We're on the north side of the White House. This is Lafayette Park. stop. I'm letting the audience know. I was letting the audience know. So they've stopped about 40 yards from the front of the White House, messing up the shot I was hoping of getting, hoping to get. So I'm going to go back into the crowd here and see, are they not permitted to go any further, or is there something they're staging here and then they complete the march when everyone's arrived? This is the International Women's Day protest against Donald Trump's executive order reinstating the Gag Rule on steroids, preventing American foreign aid dollars from going to healthcare providers abroad that mention or provide abortion.
And you're going to turn? You're going to turn. All right, women's rights are under attack. What do we do? Stand up like that. When women's rights are under attack, what do we do? Stand up like that. When women's rights are under attack, what do we do? Stand up like that. When women's rights are under attack, what do we do? Stand up like that. When women's rights are under attack, what do we do? Stand up like that. When women's rights are under attack, what do we do? Stand up like that. Stand up like that. Stand up like that. Stand up like that. Stand up like that.
Let's go to that corner. Follow me. some of the folks are kind of hanging around in front of the White House and not following the march official pathway. So we're going to catch up with the march in a second. I want to see if there's anything interesting going on down here.
So tell me, why are you out here today?
I'm here because of the International Women's Day, a Day Without Women international strike.
So what do you plan to accomplish today with all the rallies and the protests going on throughout the day?
To make sure that the world knows that all of us who are on the Women's March haven't disappeared. We're still here. We're still concerned. We're as dedicated as ever.
So what do you expect the White House to respond to this in any way since we're out here today?
I expect it to bother him.
Do you think that he will be bothered at all?
From what I've heard, protests really bother him. Like few other things, other than implying he didn't really win the election.
Like the reference to your sign. Can you show your sign up for us, please?
So why do you want Donald Trump to be off his game? Why you want him to be melting down instead of keeping his composure?
I couldn't hear your question.
Why do you want Donald Trump melting down instead of keeping his composure?
It is far better. He is unstable. He's mentally ill. It's far better that become painfully clear from a peaceful, calm protest than from an international crisis.
So you want him to learn how to keep his poise so that when he faces an international crisis, he'll be able to handle it?
He's a narcissist. That's impossible. Narcissists aren't like that. They don't learn. He needs to get out of office as soon as possible. As an independent, I would even prefer Mike Pence with his religious extremism to someone as utterly dangerous in more ways than I can explain as Donald Trump.
I see. So if he gets all upset about things like crowd size, your concern is that when we face a true international crisis, he's going to have an absolute just meltdown, and you think by putting pressure on him at this stage, you might be able to get him out of office before that happens.
Exactly. The sooner he's gone, the less damage he's done. He's already done more damage to American prestige than I can put into words. He's changed us from the defender of democracy into a threat that everyone fears. He's turned our backs on climate change and the danger it poses. He's embraced the Russians and all of their violence, murder, breaking of international laws right and left.
What does it say to you that not just Donald Trump, but many conservatives feel a stronger affinity to racists and foreign dictators, murderous dictators even, than to their countrymen who have different perspectives on things like abortion and multiculturalism?
It's appalling. It's appalling. They've shown that the principles that they have espoused for years were nothing but a front, and that their ultimate desire is for power and control, not a better world or a better country.
Thank you very much for your time. Tell me your name.
My name is Danny Martin.
You got a Twitter handle?
Twitter? No, I do not.
Thank you, Danny Martin. Okay, we're at the White House. This is a protest against the global gag rule, an executive order by Donald Trump to prevent U.S. foreign aid dollars from going to health organizations that talk about, counsel about, or provide abortion. Most of the rally has moved on into Lafayette Square. I'm sorry, I should say most of the march, which started at Freedom Plaza, which is down that way. They just kind of banked a right turn here at the White House. A few people decided that they wanted to stay and maybe hope that Donald Trump sees them outside the window. We're going to go over here now to where they're holding a rally, and there'll be some speakers. This installation here is pretty much a permanent fixture. This looks like it's, I saw some pictures of Nagasaki and Hiroshima, the two cities in Japan that we dropped atom bombs on at the closing of World War II. Peace activists. Wouldn't be surprised if they were veterans. They sort of looked like Vietnam guys. All right. Can you carry the mic again?
Yes. Hi guys, I'm Stacy. I'm the new TYT intern here in DC. I'm the new TYT intern here in DC, and I'm so happy to be working with TYT. I'm really excited about this because I'm someone who wants to get involved with leadership and in every aspect, like in the media and politics. And what I've noticed is that even with liberals, I've been neglected because of my gender, and which is a woman. And you know, it's really sad because these are men who share the same ideology as me, supposedly, but because of their subconscious experiences with life and with politics and with what they've learned, they still treat women differently. So it's really important to have the strike because this sends a really clear message that they are nothing without us. Society, work, politics, everything cannot function without a woman in office and in the workplace. And this is what the strike is for.
You know, Stacey, I've found in multiracial broad coalitions that sometimes it helps if women lead or if people of color lead, so that those biases that we all grow up with, women and men, people of color and white people grow up with these patriarchal and sort of white privilege biases, they don't come into play as much because the leadership balance it off, whether it be women or whether it be people of color.
Yeah, well, it's not as evident as they make it seem, but it's definitely still there. As a woman and as a young girl, I have witnessed it firsthand among all types of people, all types of white men especially. It doesn't matter how they identify politically, they still show it even if they don't mean to, and it's important to get rid of that subconscious schema because it's still there.
What do you think about having leadership be provided by women and people of color in these broad coalitions as a counterweight to that? I mean, do you think theoretically that could work? Or is that what you think we're seeing here?
I think that it could work. I think it's a really good stepping stone. I think it's really important to have more women of color and more representation of not just women of color, but women who weren't necessarily born female and all types of women. It's important to have them in leadership positions and them in the workplace and them be included just as white straight women like myself are.
All right, let's head over to the rally. So that's Stacy. What's your last name again, Stacy?
Kisder, Stacy Kisder. You can follow me on Twitter at Stacy Kisder. Last name is Khizder if you don't know.
Maybe spell that one more time.
It's STACEY Khizder.
Our new intern, Stacy Kisder. We actually met her at George Washington University when TYT was broadcasting there on Fusion. Okay. Ooh, watch out for the puppy. I know, I saw it. Stacy was trying to prevent me from puppy side. Okay. So the reason why we're a good 150 yards from the White House is probably permitting and safety. This is the closest permit they were able to get.
After millions marched around the world, many of us here march at the Women's March. Trump took action to deny women and girls globally their reproductive rights, their access to health care services in some of the poorest countries around the The Trump global gag, for those of you who don't know, is a U.S. policy, and it bans U.S. global foreign aid to organizations, international organizations, that provide life-saving services to women and girls. If those international organizations provide abortion services or even talk about abortion or refer their patients for abortions with their own money, not U.S. money, they cannot receive U.S. funding. This is a failed policy, and it's outdated. It's from 1984. It is outdated and failed. We know it has been associated in the past with increases in unsafe abortion, and we know women die when abortion is unsafe and not available. The contraceptive access goes down, and HIV prevention programs are weakened. This is what the Trump global gag rule does. It's unacceptable, it's deadly, and we must resist. So today, I want to thank my team at Change, the co-sponsors, the steering committee. We have more than 40 organizations co-sponsoring this rally with us. I want to thank our speakers today, who are fierce human rights defenders, and I want to thank all of you for being here, for speaking out and standing strong, because we need to do this together. We need to fight together against human rights abuses against women here at home in the U.S. as well as globally. We need to break down all the borders, all the issues, and come together and fight every fight that we're dealt along the way. And we can do that. In fact, we can end the global gag rule. We can end it together. We can raise our voices. We can press Congress to repeal Trump's global gag rule. We can press that. It's called the Global Her Act, and after today's march, we need to march into Congress and get Congress to support and pass this legislation to get rid of the global gag rule once and for all. Together we can do it. We have to be together, though, and we need to be together to resist Trump and stop the gag. Resist Trump, stop the gag! Resist Trump, stop the gag! Resist Trump, stop the gag! Thank you!
Buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Esther Vicente y estoy aquí con la Federación Internacional de Planificación de la Familia, International Planned Parenthood Federation, Western Hemisphere region. We are one of those organizations that will feel the bold dangers and impacts of the gag rule. We have 50 organizations in 40 countries in the Americas and the Caribbean. And we ask you to resist. Resistencia, resistencia, resistencia. This is the response to the reinstatement of the global gag rule that we hear echoing through the Americas and the Caribbean. This is the call of women and young people who insist that they will not put their lives in danger for an unfair policy that relies in ideology rather than evidence. A policy that undermines the principles of fairness and democracy. A policy that jeopardizes our ability to fight for the basic right to health and bodily autonomy. Resistencia. As a long-time volunteer with the International Planned Parenthood Federation Western Hemisphere region, I have seen the effects of the gag rule firsthand. I have seen our local partners lose much-needed funding for their communities or change their programs altogether. But it is not only a loss of programs that we experience. We see women uncertain of their rights. We see confusion and fear. We see anti-women and anti-abortion groups emboldened by the United States agenda. We see attacks by fundamentalist groups not only in Puerto Rico, where I come from, but throughout the Americas and the Caribbean. For example, in Chile, our local association, our local partner, had their offices vandalized. We have no doubt that other governments in the region will follow the lead of the United States when it comes to reproductive justice. We have already begun to see funding and political will for sexual and reproductive health and rights paralyzed in Puerto Rico and other countries in the region, even though the global gag rule is still undergoing some revisions and some regulations are still being drafted. But we will continue the fight. We refuse to abandon the real-life needs of women. We will continue the fight.
Okay,
we
folks.
refuse to follow a rule that undermines...
There's another protest happening at the U.S. Capitol, so we're going to break off. We're going to travel over there and bring you some of that. It's Eric Byler for TYT Politics. You can catch the next webcast at facebook.com/TYT Politics.